Welcome, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to go ahead and get started now that we have a good amount of people in here. If you're working through our welcome poll, we really appreciate that, and we're glad to use this information to learn more about who you are, who's joining us today. This is extremely helpful for us, so we thank you. I am going to go ahead and end that now so that we can just get rolling here with our webinar today and the reason why you're here. So again, thanks for your participation in that. If you didn't get to filling it out completely, totally okay. It's inconsequential, just helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and end that and get rolling. And also let me know if you cannot see the PowerPoint. You can use the chat to let me know if you can't see the PowerPoint. Hopefully you can. And we'll get started. So, hi everyone. My name is Matt Dietrich. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Penn State School of International Affairs. I'm joined by my colleague, Christy Percio, who is largely manning the chat today, and she is the Director of Admissions. And we're so happy that you're joining us today for this best practices in applying to graduate school. Of course, there is an emphasis on our Master of International Affairs, and we do hope that you'll apply to our program. But we also hope that this information is helpful for you as you apply to graduate school. And we're specifically, if you are applying to our program, we're going to give you really some in-depth information on what it's like to apply, as well as how to put together the best application, not only for admission, but for merit-based scholarships. Before we get started into the content today, I do want to emphasize that we would really like if you could use the question and answer box within Zoom to ask your questions today, as opposed to the webinar chat. It's extremely helpful for us to keep up with your questions if you use the Q&A box. Sometimes, especially if a lot of people are talking in the chat, sometimes your questions can get lost. So use the chat for chatting, use the Q&A box for your questions, and we will answer as we go along today. You can feel free to ask questions at any time. We will stop at the end to answer your questions live, but Christy will, and she does a really great job at this, she will be keeping up with your questions as we go along today via text, as long as you ask them in the Q&A box. But we will take some time at the end to answer your questions live as we finish up our webinar today. So yeah, let's get started here. And again, please let me know if you're having trouble uh, seeing the PowerPoint. All right. So first, I do want to talk a little bit about the School of International Affairs specifically, to give you an idea of what we're about, who we are, especially as you're preparing applications for admission into our program. We offer a professional master's degree. It's different than an academic degree where you may be doing research and preparing for a PhD. Our program is really specifically designed to assist students in getting the skills that they need to get a job post-graduation. And of course, we're helping students get jobs in the international affairs realm, public policy, international affairs, nonprofit organizations, federal government within the United States, et cetera, et cetera. Again, not really preparing students for a PhD, although there are a subset of students that do go on to get PhDs once they graduate from our program. So if that's you and you find that our program is interesting and you feel like you want to apply to our program, and you want to go on to get a PhD, don't write us off. But we are mostly working towards helping students get um, to get a job once they graduate. We are also a member of the Association of Professional Schools of International Affairs, or APSIA. This is the consortium of international affairs graduate programs across the world, or around the world rather, that are the top international affairs schools globally. We offer an interdisciplinary, flexible, and customizable curriculum. So you can choose one of 12 concentrations or completely create your own by taking classes across the university to meet your niche interests, gain extra skills, that you need for the job that you're anticipating on getting post-graduation, and the ability to take classes within the International Affairs program from a variety of concentrations to make the concentration that is most interesting to you. We also offer education abroad. If you are a student of the United States or in the United States, and you are interested in education abroad, you can absolutely do that through our program. And we also have elite experienced faculty members who come out of diplomatic careers, working in the State Department, former ambassadors or diplomats, as well as folks who have worked in the White House or on Capitol Hill. And then we also have a level of scholars within our program, and then a mix of both. So folks who do have this practical experience, but they also have PhDs, so they can bring a level of practice as well as scholarship into the classroom. And I think that that makes for a really great diverse learning experience. We also boast an over 90% career attainment rate within 1 year of graduating our program. Right now, it is at a 93.8% career attainment rate. And we're really proud of that number. It just speaks to the quality of our program, our preparation that we provide students, a great career services office, as well as awesome students who get here and just do the work. And they're putting themselves out there in the job market, networking, and engaging in the resources here at Penn State University. So let's get into why you're here today. Really, this is a time where if you want to take some notes, screen record, whatever the case is, this will be posted on YouTube at a later time. So feel free to go back into the archives of YouTube to see and watch it on demand, if you will. But I'm going to go through our application, kind of walk you through it step by step, and hopefully this information is helpful as you plan to apply to our program in the future. So first, some very important deadlines. If you're interested in not only admission, but merit-based scholarships to our program, I imagine everyone is looking for free money, of course. Our merit-based scholarship consideration deadline is January 31st, 2025. Of course, if you're applying for fall 2025, then you'll want to apply no later than January 31st of 2025. Applying after this date reduces your chances significantly for being considered for merit-based scholarships. Our final deadline for admission is March 21st of 2025. Really, this is the deadline for admission. There may be some limited scholarships at this point. We can't guarantee it. It really just depends on if we're able to fill our class by March 21st. You can apply after March 21st and be considered on a rolling basis. However, this is really just for those who uh, are interested and we have seats available for. I It's rare that anyone gets a scholarship at this point. We pretty much have that depleted by the January 31st deadline. So just make sure that you're applying by January 31st, and we will consider you for merit-based scholarships with an entirely completed application, which of course we'll talk about throughout our time here today. So how to apply? First, you need to go onto our website, right? Simple enough. You need to go to our website, which is here. I didn't hyperlink it for obvious reasons. You can't really click on it, but if you just Google search us and look up how to apply to the School of International Affairs at Penn State, you can find that. Find all of the requirements online. So if you're worried about trying to catch all of the information here today, again, check us back out on YouTube on a later time. But also, all of the information I'm going to provide you is on our website. The requirements are as follows. And again, we're going to go more in depth into each individual aspect of this. You do need a current resume or CV. You need to upload a copy of the official transcripts. You need to write a statement of purpose. You need the contact information for 2 letters of recommendation. You also need to complete our program-specific questions, which are at the end of our application. These are super important. For international students, we also need proof of English proficiency. There are no waivers for the English proficiency requirements unless you are from a country that Penn State has already deemed exempt from the English proficiency requirement. This is online, so do your due diligence, go on our website and check out the countries that are listed there. If you are taking the TOEFL exam, the minimum score is an 80 on the internet-based test with a 19 on the speaking section. If you've taken the IELTS exam, this is a 6.5 overall band score, which are the minimum scores you need to be considered eligible. You also need a degree that is comparable to a US four-year bachelor's degree. In some countries, this means your three-year degree plus a one-year master's or postgraduate diploma. If you're a European student, this means at least 240 ECTS credits. It really varies by country and region. All of this information, again, is on our website. We try to not keep you in the dark. There are no tricks here. We're really just trying to make sure that you succeed. So please make sure that you go on our website to determine eligibility as it relates to your particular circumstance. All right, here's some application tips regarding our statement of purpose. This is the most important piece of the application. We can't emphasize this enough. The statement of purpose, regardless of where you're applying, if you're applying to our program or any other program that you're applying to, the statement of purpose is really your chance to shine. Other places may call this the personal essay or statement of interest or something like that. But this is where you can flesh out not only what's on your resume, but the things that are in addition to your resume that make you the best candidate for admission into that program. For our program, there are two prompts on the website to choose from. We ask that you choose one of those and you write it and you stay on task as closely as you possibly can. For our program, the typical statement of purpose is 500 to 750 words, which is essentially cover letter style. We really don't want you writing less than this. That would not be a great recipe for success. If you write more than 750 words, that's okay. But please note that admissions committees, particularly ours, have a lot of applications to read through. So if you're writing 1,200, 1,000 words, you could get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately, just because of how many applications we absolutely have to read through. Um, for some of you, this is a chance to showcase your writing ability and command of the English language. I think, and I'll go over this in future slides, that the statement of purpose really is your chance to shine, not just with your accolades and your level of accomplishments and things that prepare you for a graduate program, but also it shows that you can handle the rigors of a writing intense program. If you can't make it through the statement of purpose without too many grammatical errors or spelling errors, or the flow is not great, then your chance of convincing the admissions committee that you can take on higher level writing is greatly diminished as well. So use the statement of purpose as a way to prove to the admissions committee that you can take on higher level learning as well as a program where you have to write a lot. Here at the School of International Affairs, you're going to have to write a lot of papers, briefing memos, summaries, essays, and so this is super important and part of the application process as well. So moving on and continuing with our statement of purpose here, here are some really important do's when it comes to the statement of purpose. For our Master of International Affairs program, you're going to want to pick a prompt and stick with it. It's not a great idea to, mix the two prompts and go in and out of one or the other. Don't write about things that are outside any of our prompts. We've written these prompts on purpose. One, it shows that you can pick a task and stay on task. It also shows us that you can follow instructions and directions as we've laid them out. But also, we're looking for some specific information within your statement of purpose as it relates to those prompts, and that's why we want you to stick with those prompts as well. We also want you to show the admissions committee that Penn State is your top choice. We understand, it's not lost on us that you are applying to all other many other graduate programs that are really great. We totally understand that, and you're free to do that, of course. But we also want to make sure that you are seriously considering us and not just trying to, for lack of a better term, throw spaghetti at a wall and see what sticks. We want you to convince the admissions committee that Penn State is a serious consideration for you. Because if you're happy in our program, it's really a benefit for you in the long run. It's a benefit for us, and we don't want you to set you up to set you up in such a way where you get into a program that you end up not being happy about. So this involves a lot of things. Make sure you're doing your due diligence, researching our program, figuring out if we're a right fit for you, and then expressing that fit and what you're excited about as far as coming to Penn State and the School of International Affairs specifically. Include information on concentrations, classes, professors, opportunities, and this is not an exhaustive list. It's just comprehensive. So make sure you're doing your due diligence by scouring our website, perusing every web page that you can, doing your doing your research on what we offer, the activities that we offer, extracurricular activities, those that are academic related and non-academic related that really excite you about Penn State School of International Affairs, and include this in your statement of purpose. And it really is a great segue from the prior point in that it shows that it shows that you are committed to attending our program if you're admitted into Penn State as well. And so we want you to show us that you know about us and that you're not just really copying and pasting from all other statements of purpose and just kind of putting Penn State's name in there. As far as writing your statement of purpose, we want you to include the motivation for why you want to get a Master of International Affairs, a class you took, an experience you had, what type of event took place in your life that has motivated you to want to get a Master of International Affairs. A good example of a motivation is maybe there was some sort of tragic event that took place in your home country or in your local community that is international affairs related that has caused you to want to go in this direction. Or maybe you had a really great internship and it just really greatly impacted your life. And you said to yourself, I need a master's degree in order to kind of take this to the next level. Those are really great motivators. Some not so great motivators or more or less average motivators would be I spent a summer in Cabo and I really enjoyed being in a different culture. And so I want to travel the world with this degree. I don't think that that's a great motivator. I think it's awesome that you want to travel the world, but getting a job just to travel the world, I don't think is very convincing to the committee. So we want to know what type of a thing took place in your life that is serious in nature, that is motivating you to get a Master of International Affairs. You also want to include your post-grad goals. So, what type of global issue do you want to tackle post-graduation? Are you interested in global immigration? Are you interested in refugee assistance? Are you interested in climate change or international security issues? Begin to flesh out in the statement of purpose your post-grad goals, and that will be important as well. Then you want to marry these ideas together and show us how does Penn State specifically fit these goals. This is where you can begin to include the concentrations, classes, professors, or opportunities in the statement of purpose to show us what motivates you, what you want to do after you graduate, and how does Penn State meet and kind of bind those two things together to get you to where you want to go. If you can kind of weave all of these ideas in and out of one another within your statement of purpose, I think you'll have successfully written a very good statement of purpose. Again, 500 to 750 words. More is better than less, but please don't write a novel. Here's the other kind of tidbit on the statement of purpose length is that In the real world, many of your supervisors don't want to read novels. They want concise and short. And so part of our program is to teach you these types of skills as well. And if you can show that you're able to do this in the statement of purpose, then you're the type of person we would like in our program. Here are some do nots of the statement of purpose. Please do not copy and paste the statements of purpose from other programs. We can tell, we're pretty good at this. We can tell when folks are applying to many programs. Again, it's not lost on us that you are doing this, but we can tell when you're applying to many programs and you're just copying and pasting and then changing the name from said program to Penn State School of International Affairs. One of the main reasons how we can see this is that you're not including information about our program specifically, and you're just very general in that you want to change the world and you want to come to Penn State to do so. Uh, being very general like that leads us to believe that you're just, again, throwing spaghetti at a wall, seeing what will stick, but also you're applying to many programs, just trying to get into one of them, and then you'll decide later on which one you want to go to. So make sure you're not copying and pasting. Again, we have some, other indicators as to how this is true across the board. Do not use AI or plagiarize your statement of purpose. We have some software that can detect either or of these, and our policy is written on the website. So make sure, again, you're reading our website to understand what could happen if you use too much AI or you plagiarize. AI is a great tool. It's something that we're malleable to, but it's good to generate ideas, not to do the work for you. So if you're using AI to generate ideas, please don't copy and paste directly from the large language model into your statement of purpose. Use it to help you to think of some things. And then use your own words to write the statement of purpose. That's the best way to use AI as a tool, as opposed to doing the work for you. As far as plagiarism goes, this is something that has caused folks to be denied from our program. So please don't plagiarize whatsoever. Both are academic integrity violations, and there's no toleration for that. Again, don't write too little. Really give yourself a chance here to write about our program and who you are and why you see us fitting into your academic and career goals. One of the other pieces that we don't want you to do is copy and paste your statement of purpose into the text box. If you're applying to our program, you'll see that there is a text box option as well as the ability to upload a PDF. If you're copying and pasting it into the text box, it does not format correctly. It just looks like one big blob of text, and it's really just unprofessional in nature. Please upload your statement of purpose as a PDF. This will maintain the great work that you've done, the formatting, the spacing, et cetera, et cetera, and it is professional. So we want to make sure that we can read it without being frustrated, if you will, and so make sure you're doing yourself a service by doing that. One thing I didn't mention, I kind of skipped over this in the do's about the statement of purpose, or like a best practice, if you will, is to reread, edit, rinse, and repeat. It's not a bad idea. And I know some people feel really skeptical, or they get nervous about asking for help. We live in a culture where we think we can just do it all on our own. I get it. But you use the resources around you. Ask professors or trusted friends, maybe folks who have been through graduate school, to reread your essays, help you, overcome some of the grammatical errors or the flow issues within your statements of purpose. This is a really great tactic to make sure that you're writing the best statement of purpose for our program. Continue to reread it. Download Grammarly. Grammarly is a really great free tool that you can use to help make sure that you're not misspelling words, and that the flow of your arguments are good. All right. Moving into the resume and CV. What the resume and CV does is that it provides a summary of your experience and skills to the admissions committee. At this point, uh, please summarize everything and anything that you've done that is relevant to graduate school and international affairs. This includes your education, professional experience, internships, any volunteer or leadership experience, any publications, or as far as leadership experience goes, this can include if you were the president or the secretary of a undergraduate student group, you can include that as well. Um, any professional groups you've been a part of that you think could contribute to the overall review of your application, you can include that as well. You don't have to stick to one page as far as the resume and CV goes. At this stage of the game, the one page resume kind of goes out the window, particularly within our industry as well. So include everything and anything that is relevant to international affairs and graduate school. Whatever you choose, whether that be a resume or a CV, both should be tailored to the specific program you are applying to. It should create a great first impression and that you are the best qualified candidate. So if you're applying to, and both the last point and this point kind of go hand in hand, if you are applying to graduate school, make sure you're putting your education at the top. I know that sounds like it's common sense, but I just want to be super clear that your education at the top is the most important. First, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Otherwise, you're ineligible completely for a graduate program. And then you want to think about what is the next most important thing. Do you include internships and professional experience, or maybe you lack a great professional or internship experience? So then you want to include, I would say, maybe some leadership or volunteer experience. These are other important considerations as well. So, kind of going over an example resume. Now, I did just pull this resume. This is not a real person, per my knowledge. So I pulled this off of the internet. And so we're going to kind of go through this. And I'm not saying you have to set up your resume exactly like this. You really do have to kind of tailor it to our program, but also based on the types of skills and experiences that you have. So that those are all considerations, and I think it's different for everybody, really. So you can see here, and particularly with a resume, is that there is an emphasis or a focus on professional experience and skills. A resume is more concise than a CV. A CV provides a lot of details, but a resume generally is just a snapshot or a summary. A resume will not include as often publications or speaking at a conference. A CV really is geared towards academia, whereas a resume is more geared towards the professional world. And that's why I think we emphasize the resume over the CV in our program. When included in a graduate school application, again, education should remain at the top. That should be the first thing that we see. You can include relevant coursework for graduate applications. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not. If you've taken coursework that is relevant to international affairs or public policy, et cetera, then maybe I would include that. If you're coming from a degree program that really didn't focus on anything international at all, maybe not including relevant coursework is better for you in the long run. So you wouldn't have to, or maybe you wouldn't necessarily include that as well. The resume does require more tailoring to the program in which you're applying, whereas like the CV pretty much includes everything and anything that you've done. Maybe the resume is more tailored to the relevant things that you have done. Again, a resume will probably be necessary for professional graduate degree programs, of which we are one. And then always upload as a PDF. I can't emphasize this enough. Please don't copy and paste your resume into the text box. It's just a simple HTML text box that negates all formatting that you've done. If you do this, again, it just all runs together and it looks really, really bad. So please upload your resume as a PDF. And that will make sure that your resume is uploaded in a professional way and it's easy to read. Making everything easy on the admissions committee is good for you. The final thing is to keep it professional with minimal to no mistakes. Again, the resume should be read over and over and over again. At some point, you're going to have to decide to upload it. So maybe give yourself a three revisions before you upload it so that you're not reviewing it over and over and over again. Make sure that there are no grammar or spelling mistakes. Make sure it's formatted in such a way that it is consistent. One thing I like about the resume that you can see on your screen is that all the bullet points are in one line, and then the indentations are all in one line. And then the margins are all the same on every single side. It's very professionally done. And so if you need to take this to your career services office or like a career coach of sorts at your university, I would do so to make sure that they're just kind of giving you the sign off as far as the professional nature of your resume and that it is cleaned up and looks nice. Moving on to letters of recommendation. So for our program, we do require two recommendations in order to be considered for admission to merit-based scholarships. We also recommend that you have at least one faculty member write a letter of recommendation. I think preferably you would have two faculty letters of recommendation. I know that some of you are mid-career professionals and you've been out of the undergraduate game for a while, and so getting faculty recommendations is tough. That's totally okay. If you work in a relevant industry, and you're applying to our program and you have a supervisor or two supervisors or colleagues of note that you can have write letters of recommendation for you, I think that that is perfectly fine. But I think in an ideal world, we have at least one faculty recommendation. Recommendations should speak to the following: your ability to work well with others, your ability to take on graduate work. I think this is why the faculty member is important, and they'll include examples, specific examples of projects that support this claim. Your recommenders will talk about your drive, determination, and motivation for higher learning, including what you want to do with this degree. In order for them to know what you want to do with this degree, in order for them to know your drive, determination, and motivation, you will have at least had a conversation with them about your interest in a Master of International Affairs and what you want to do so that they can speak to that within the letter of recommendation. If you just send them an email and say, hey, I need a letter of recommendation. Do you think you could do one for me? And they say yes, they might not be able to include this type of information. But hey, if you take them out for a cup of coffee, you sit down with them, you talk about your ambitions, your goals, your dreams, and then ask them for a letter of recommendation, they may be able to write you a really solid one and include some of this information. Which, again, I've talked about this, but talk to your possible recommenders now. Don't wait until January 15th. Give them a ton of time or give them adequate time. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but give them adequate time to write you a good letter of recommendation. People are busy, particularly professors. They have a lot going on. If you give them 14 days to write a letter of recommendation, they may not write you a solid one. But if you give them a month or a month and a half to write one, they can plan out writing it and write you a solid letter of recommendation. It's never too early to ask them, particularly for fall 2025. Even if you don't plan on submitting your application until later in our cycle, you can just have the conversation now and just lock down the letter of recommendation. So that's just a piece of advice I have for you. And of course, there's bonus points. There's not real bonus points. It won't help you with admission. They're kind of proverbial or fake bonus points for meeting with them. So, sit down with them, go to their office hours or have a cup of coffee with them and talk about, again, your motivation for higher education, the Master of International Affairs, why you want to come to Penn State, and what you plan on doing with this degree post graduation. Um, Choose recommenders that you have a good relationship with, meaning you went to their office hours if they're a faculty member of yours, or you got an A in their class, or you worked closely with them on a project at work or something like that. Try not to choose recommenders who don't really know you so well. Maybe you got an A in their class. But you didn't really meet with them. They hardly know your name, and you just send them an email hoping that they'll say yes. They won't really have a whole lot to speak to as far as recommending you to our program. And so try to pick try to pick recommenders who know you well and can really speak not only to your skills and your preparedness for graduate school, but also your ability to take on a higher level learning. Here are some additional tips for a successful application. Reminder that the deadline for scholarship consideration is January 31st of 2025. Start the application as early as possible to give yourself the best chance. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you is that if you apply now, and you complete your application in its entirety well before January 31st of 2025, you get into our queue to hear back from us at a much earlier date. We plan on reviewing applications throughout the winter break and providing decisions in mid-February at the earliest. And so you could be within our first batch to hear back from us in February. So if that's you, if you want to hear back from us in February, then I would suggest putting together your application now. We do receive quite a lot of applications, and so reading through all of them and getting decisions out earlier is in your best interest. Again, don't wait to apply by late January. Give your recommenders time. I think this is one of the most common reasons why anyone would have a delay in a decision from us is that you just didn't give your recommenders enough time to apply or to submit their letter on your behalf by January 31st. At the time of application, you want to upload a copy of the official transcript to the application. Sometimes this can get confusing. Sometimes it's called an unofficial transcript. Suffice it to say that anytime an official transcript is in the hands of you, it becomes unofficial. If you're admitted into our program, we will need the official transcript submitted from your undergraduate university to the Penn State Graduate School, business to business, if you will. So it can't pass through your hands, it can't pass through our hands. It has to go directly from university to university, and then that will be officially official. But at the time of application, having the copy of the official transcript is sufficient. If you've already conferred your degree, if you have a degree conferred rather, that would be beneficial to you as well, and it won't delay a decision from us, and that will be super helpful. At the end of the application, we have supplemental essay questions or short answer questions. Please make sure you answer them thoroughly. Skipping these or just kind of brushing over them is not a smart idea. These are included in the evaluation of every applicant, so make sure that you are answering these to the best of your ability and with great honesty. Upload all required documents as PDFs. This includes the resume or the statement of purpose, other documents that may be specific to you. You'll see on our application. Don't put them in the text box. It just looks really bad. It's a pain to read, and it won't benefit you in the long run. The admissions committee is not very fond of the text box. And finally, the GRE is not required, but if you'd like to submit scores, you can do so anytime using code 2660. If you go onto your ETS portal, you can have scores sent to Penn State using code 2660. As far as the GRE score, again, not required. It's completely optional. If you choose to submit GRE scores, great. If you don't, that's fine. It will not negatively impact an admissions decision whether you submit them or not. Good scores could boost your chances at a higher scholarship, but it's not always true. Historically, good GRE scores do boost the scholarship a little bit. Again, not always true. We have some really, really great or high scholarship earners who have really great applications and no GRE scores. You decide whether you want to submit them or not. If you submit bad scores, no problem. It seriously won't hurt you at all. International students, if you take note of this, please. You can submit your English proficiency scores as soon as possible. even before you apply, so that when you do submit your application, your scores can attach. One of the biggest reasons, or one of the most common reasons for international students being delayed in their admissions decision is that they don't submit their English proficiency scores until much, much later in the cycle. You can have your scores sent to us now. Again, TOEFL, go into your ETS portal and have them sent using code 2660, just like GRE. If you've taken the IELTS, please have them sent from your testing agency to Penn State University. Do not think that just self-reporting scores or submitting your score report is official. That is not official. We will need to have them sent from the testing agency to Penn State directly. International students, please also check country eligibility to determine what documents need uploaded at the time of application. This includes degree certificates, transcripts in English and the native language, and etc. Again, this is on our website. There's a link on the admissions page, which you can then see, look up the country in which you've earned a degree, and then determine what is needed at the time of application to ensure that there are no delays in processing your application. And that is it as far as best practices in applying to our program. You can go ahead and connect with us by scanning the QR code on the left. And you can go ahead and scan the QR code on the right to check out all of the application requirements that I went over today, how to apply, how to submit the graduate school application, and more. And with that, I hope that there are some questions coming through, as I have not been keeping an eye on the questions, and I think maybe Christy has answered some, but we'd love to go through and answer your questions now. So please go ahead and we can give some time to have you submit your questions, and we're happy to answer those live. And if not, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And take care. But if you'd like to stick around for a Q&A, that'd be great. So someone asks, is it recommended to add all the certificates, leadership, fellowships in the resume file? The actual certificates themselves, you don't need to add. If you let us know on the resume that you've earned some awards or honors or certificates or something like that, that's fine. You don't necessarily need to give us the actual copy of the certificate. So some questions that were already answered for the good of the group. Oh, someone asks, what are you looking for in an ideal applicant? It's a good question. I think we've kind of talked quite a bit throughout this webinar today about really what we're looking for. I think ultimately, within the statement of purpose, we want to talk about um, and if I can go back here to the statement of purpose section, is the motivation, post-grad goals, and how Penn State fits these goals. Those, I think, if you can mesh those well together in a very concise and logical way, I think that's how you can tell the admissions committee that you're serious about Penn State, serious about a Master of International Affairs, and that you'll do what you can that is necessary during the program. You'll take it seriously to set yourself up for success post graduation. So make sure that you're following these closely. We're not looking for necessarily that you're interested in a particular area like national security or human rights. All of these are important to us because they're important to you. We just want to make sure that it makes sense. What motivated you? What you want to do after you graduate, and how does Penn State fit into all of that? And I think that's how you can best set yourself up for success. There are other things that are important too, like Make sure you've done well in your undergraduate degree. Make sure you have a decent GPA and that your grades are good. And make sure you have a CV or resume that fleshes out your professional volunteer leadership experience. These are also qualities that we're looking for in an ideal applicant. But really, the statement of purpose is going to be the convincing factor here. How do you evaluate cumulative GPA? Is it very much considerable? Yeah, we'll look at GPA, but due to our holistic review process, the GPA is not the most important part of the application. Everything is important. Strengths in one area can help you overcome weaknesses in another area. So if your GPA is a little lower, say it's a 3.0 and that's not satisfactory to you, but you have really great professional and internship experience and you've really done your homework, not in an academic sense, but in a sense of you've grown over the years since you graduated. Then we'll take all of this into consideration, right? And we can see you as a good candidate outside of the GPA. We understand folks coming from a wide variety of backgrounds. Maybe they started off in pre-med and decided that that was not for them because their grades have suffered and they moved into political science or something like that. This has happened. So I'm just giving you kind of a real world example for this particular question. And they've done well in the humanities and social sciences. They'd be a good candidate for us, and we would consider that as well. Someone else asks, hi, does the quality/reputation of undergraduate university matter for a STEM program? I'm an international student, so I'd like to know how the admission committee compares applicants. So we don't offer a STEM program. We only offer the Master of International Affairs, which is not STEM designated right now. But as far as the quality or the reputation of the undergraduate university, we do not take that into consideration. So you don't have to worry about that at all. We're just going to look at your transcript and make sure that you've done well as a student. Your letters of recommendation are going to help us to understand that you're ready for a higher level learning. And then, of course, the other parts of the application too that help us review you holistically. Someone asks, what are some common red flags you've seen in applications? Yeah, good question. I think the number one is just not completing it. Skipping over questions and not uploading the statement of purpose or the resume. Not completing it is the number one red flag. Other ones would include, I would say, just not taking some of the questions seriously, and really just kind of putting in very blasé or vanilla answers within some of those. It doesn't. We can kind of tell when someone isn't really taking a question very seriously. They're just trying to fill out an answer to see if they gain admission to come to our program. Um, and then the other thing is not uploading the documents that I've talked about in PDF format. Just copying and pasting them into the text box is not a good idea. And so make sure that you are just taking the application seriously. Because if you take that seriously, then we'll see you as a serious candidate, and you'll get serious consideration. I think that makes a lot of sense. So make sure you're doing that. And then again, don't plagiarize or don't use AI. Uh, uh, at least don't copy and paste from AI into your statement of purpose or anything like that. Use AI as a tool to help, not as a tool to do it for you. And that is my best piece of advice there. Someone else asks, what is the average cumulative GPA of previous students? The typical average GPA for our most recent classes is about a 3.5 GPA. It's not, but that doesn't mean that you have to have a 3.5 GPA. If you have a GPA that's like a 3.25 or a 3.3 or something like that, don't let that keep you from applying or intimidate you. And you can still apply. Some of the questions came through that were answered, but I want to ask them for the good of the group. Oh, someone asks, am I understanding it correctly that a European BA of 180 ECTS is not eligible for the program. That is correct. You must have 240 ECTS credits. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to get around that. You're going to need that prior to being eligible for a program. So I know that that was answered already to that specific person, but for the good of the group, in case any Europeans are on here that are interested in our program, you must have 240 ECTS credits first. Someone asks, can you please mention again the process of submitting TOEFL scores? Yes, go into your ETS portal and submit them to the Penn State Graduate School using code 2660, 2660, and have them submitted to Penn State as soon as you can. Someone else asks, what is the duration of the MIA degree? And our Master of International Affairs is a 2-year residential program located in University Park, Pennsylvania, which is Penn State University's main campus. Great. Another question comes in. Can you give some ideas about funding? How much is it? Yeah, so we offer, again, generous merit-based scholarships to completely to completed applications in their entirety by January 31st. As long as they're eligible, funding is not guaranteed, scholarships are not guaranteed, and they do not cover the entirety of tuition. We can't provide any full tuition scholarships. We don't have any graduate assistantships or TA teaching assistantships either within our department. We're just not afforded those opportunities, but we can discount tuition up to about 65% for really good applicants to our program. So I would say the average discount is around the 40 to 50% range. But they can discount tuition anywhere from 15% to 65%, depending on our ability to provide those levels of scholarships or not. There's another point I was going to make, and I forget. But yeah, thanks for that question. Oh yeah, I was going to say in fall 2024, all eligible admitted students to the Penn State School of International Affairs receive some form of funding. So 100% of students got something from us. Again, the ranges vary from about 15% to 65% tuition discount, and it just towards tuition, not living expenses. All right. Any other questions that we can help with today? Someone asks, does an affiliation with Fulbright grant a higher chance of acceptance? If you are a Fulbright recipient from another country to the United States, so your Fulbright award is going to send you to the United States to study. Does it grant higher chance of acceptance? No. Again, everyone is treated equally here. However, as far as funding goes, really great benefits. So if you could please apply to our program, and if you get admitted, I think you'll be pretty pleased. And that's all I'll say about that for right now. Is it possible to cover every cost by funding? As I said, no, we don't have any full tuition scholarships, unfortunately. I wish I had better news for you, but I don't. We do recommend, however, if you do get scholarship from us, that you do your due diligence of seeking any external funding that you can, whether that be through scholarships, grants, through governments, or multinational corporations or local businesses or something like that, loans even, seek those out, and give yourself the best chance to succeed as far as financing your education. Another question, what about proximity in distance to other on-campus job opportunities? Within the local area, I mean, students work. If you're an international student, there are some uh, um, if you're an international student, it's not really possible for you to work off campus, but if you work on campus, it's possible. There are restrictions around working for any student, so you can work on campus, but as far as proximity, I mean, we're right on campus. So, um, The farthest that you would need to walk anywhere is about 25 minutes, and there are buses everywhere. So I'm hoping I'm answering your question um, to the best that I can. But do let me know if you have a follow up to that. Um, yeah, someone asks, is the application for merit-based scholarships separate from the application for admission? Great question that I didn't address earlier is no. Once you apply, you're automatically considered. Application needs to be entirely completed though by January 31st. All right, it is 12:57 Eastern Daylight Time. So we are going to wrap everything up. Again, please feel free to connect with us, and I'll go to the end of our webinar here, slides so that you can see how to connect, call, text, email. We do hope to hear from you soon. Feel free to use the Connect QR code to set up individual meetings with Christy or myself, and we'd be happy to learn more about you and talk about our program more in depth. Thank you all so much for being here today, and we bid you adieu.